Imagine you're trapped in a train station, and suddenly a creature appears out of nowhere and starts attacking, aiming to rip out and eat your heart. What would you do? Hey guys, Sim Taxi here. Come join me as we dive deep into the realm of Filipino cinema with a classic from the Shake, Rattle, and Roll series. Specifically, we're going to explain the third segment of Shake, Rattle, and Roll 8, simply titled LRT. This 2006 tale takes us aboard Manila's light rail transit system for a ride that's anything but ordinary. I'm going to break down this video into two segments. First, a story recap of the movie, and second, I'm going to do a creature analysis for the monster. This video will go over every death caused by the monster and discuss how you could survive its deadly encounters. With all that out of the way, sit back and let's begin our exploration of the creature at the center of this nightmare and uncover the dark secrets lurking beneath. The story kicks off on a seemingly normal night in Manila. It's nearly midnight and 13 passengers are aboard the last trip of the LRT Line 2. Among them are Jeon and her young son Jimmy. By chance, Jean bumps into her old college sweetheart Caesar. There's a mix of other commuters too. A loudmouth deacon who spreads the words of God named Lita. A couple of annoyed passengers and a few others just trying to get home. The ride is smooth sailing and everything seems fine, until a sudden jolt nearly throws everyone off their seats. That's when the passengers notice the train didn't stop at the next station. At this point, even without a monster showing up, something already feels off. A train shaking like that, especially while still moving, isn't normal. They should have immediately contacted anybody or any authority at the very least while they had the chance. Or they could have tried to look for the emergency button. Train cabs usually have emergency buttons to either send a distress signal to the train driver or to the control center. The train then arrives to a halt at an abandoned station. Caesar and the rest forced to open the door by breaking the doorknob using his elbow. Not gonna lie, that elbow must be tough to be able to break that knob so easily. They then managed to get into the driver's cabin only to find out that there was no driver all along. The gates are locked shut as soon as they open the train doors. And it seems that there were no other people at the train station other than the passengers themselves. Jean and Cesar then notice that the other sections of the train cab are not attached to their train cab and are missing. Minutes drag on and the passengers decide to explore the area and look for a way to call for help. That's when the seemingly normal night takes a turn into a nightmare. As the other group wandered the station to look for a working telephone, one passenger was yanked upward by something, only to be found moments later with a gaping hole in his chest, his heart ripped clean out. Panic sets in and it becomes clear something is hunting them. Did they just seriously follow where the monster went? I get it, you should try to help those in need. But if it's something that can literally pick up a person, you should run immediately. At this point, they're panicking after what they just witnessed. But in a situation like this, staying calm is crucial. They need to stop and think, what exactly just yanked that boy into the air? And what kind of thing is strong enough to rip someone's heart out? They should have immediately searched for anything they could use as a weapon to defend themselves if necessary. Metal pipes, a fire extinguisher, or anything within reach, while also looking for a place to take shelter. As our hapless survivors scramble to find an exit, the movie introduces us to the terrifying monster. This creature is a standout in Filipino horror, a grotesque blend of urban legend and visceral terror. A humanoid figure, tall and sinewy, with no eyes on its face. Just smooth, pale flesh where eyes should be. Spines jut out from its head and neck. It's blind, as we saw when it approaches Jean and Jimmy while hiding from the monster. It stalks its prey using a heightened sense of hearing, and its favorite meal is a fresh, beating human hearts, which it tears out with its clawed hands in brutal and gory fashion, as it demonstrates when it rips Lita's heart with ease and eats it. My God, that's a nasty one, but sheesh, what about the bones? Like bone cages when it rips the hearts. Anyways, it immediately turns to Gurley after he screams in terror instead of being silent, or joins the group earlier in seeking shelter. Those 5 passengers who stayed in the train then get attacked by the monster. Anton gets his arm bitten by the monster while trying to close one of the train doors and is assumed dead due to blood loss. Donatello desperately tried to keep the monster from getting inside the train, but it was too strong. In an instant, it grabbed his feet and pulled him into the darkness, Era Madrigal tried to escape with the others, but the monster was relentless. Before she could get away, it tackled her to the ground. Showing no mercy, it ripped her heart from her chest, sealing her fate. Cole and Rose ran away and hid under the platform. In a terrifying moment, it tore through the ceiling, tracking them down with terrifying precision. Maybe if they had stayed silent, instead of running with their shoes clacking on the floor, they could have slipped past the monster unnoticed. As the body count rises, the survivors, including Jin, Cesar, and little Jimmy, scramble to stay alive. Jenny and her boyfriend stumbled upon what was supposed to be the derailed extension cabin, with a gruesome scene. Bodies scattered across the ground, their hearts torn out. The monster is then seen tracking them. Its silhouette is noticeable in the background in this shot. I've always wondered, ever since I was a child, if this was really the monster lurking behind them. It suddenly appears behind Jenny and Rocky. They try to run, but it catches up to them instantly, ripping Rocky's heart out. Monster then rushes back to where Jean, Jimmy, and Caesar are fleeing. In another terrifying scene, we saw the monster crawling in the wall with such speed and leaping out meters high in the air. Caesar ultimately decides to sacrifice himself in a cool and manly manner, fighting the monster one-on-one, leading to his demise to buy some time for Jin and Jimmy to get away as far as possible. The station itself becomes a character, with its flickering lights and endless shadows amplifying the dread. But here's where this movie throws us a curveball that elevates it beyond a simple monster chase. Jin and Jimmy then stumbled into a nearby police outpost, desperate for help. They told the whole story to the policeman. Train stopped at the last station. The monster attacked the passengers and ripped their heart to feed on it. They are then brought to the police station, and we see Jenny, who is still alive, by stumbling with other police while running away from the monster. This is where the movie made you think that they're safe now in the confines of police station. In a gut-punch shocking twist, it is revealed that the cops know exactly what's going on. The monster isn't some random beast, it's the mutant son of a high-ranking official. Every 3 years, the last train is deliberately led to the abandoned station to feed this creature. Any survivors who manage to escape are later locked inside a room, where the monster is lured in to devour them, ensuring that the secret remains are buried. The screen then fades to black as the screams of terror from the victims are heard in the background as the movie ends. This twist is what makes this movie so unforgettable. I feel bad for Jean, Jimmy, and Jenny. They should have not trusted the police that's standing nearby instead of securing the area. It's not just about the monster, it's about the system that protects it. The creature itself might be a mutant, but its existence is tied to human corruption. Imagine if those meant to protect you were the very ones who deliberately unleash this monstrosity. Money itself isn't evil. It's the people whose greed knows no bounds. The film keeps it vague, leaving it up to your imagination. Was the monster the result of some twisted experiment, or a cursed offspring of something far worse? I just wish they would continue the story with a sequel sometime in the future. It's a socio-political jab that hits hard, especially in a country where trust in authority can be shaky. Now, let's talk about what makes this monster so terrifying. First off, its design is pure nightmare fuel. The eyeless face taps into that primal fear of the unknown. That eyeless design isn't just there to creep us out. It's a deliberate choice that plays into the monster's heightened senses. Without eyes, it relies on sound, which makes every little noise you make a potential death sentence. The film uses this to ramp up the tension, forcing the characters and us as viewers to feel that suffocating dread of being hunted in complete silence. The monster also has spines on its back. They give the LRT monster this grotesque, almost insect-like silhouette that feels alien yet disturbingly organic. Though we can't say for sure if they serve a practical purpose. Maybe they help the monster sense vibrations in the air, or maybe they're just there to instill fear in its victims. Either way, they add to the monster's scary design, making it feel like something that doesn't belong in our world, but has somehow found its way here. Now let's dig into its behavior, because that's where things get even more unsettling. The monster doesn't just kill indiscriminately, it's got a ritualistic edge to its attacks. It specifically goes for the heart, ripping it out with surgical precision. In Filipino folklore, creatures like the aswang or the manananggal often target vital organs because they're tied to life essence. and the heart is the ultimate prize. This monster takes this to a modern, almost cinematic extreme, turning a folkloric concept into something visceral and horrifyingly real. It's not just eating to survive, it's savoring the act. Like it's feeding on the very essence of its victim's fear and vitality. That's what makes its kills so haunting. They're personal, deliberate, and deeply tied to the cultural fears this movie taps into. In this situation, we already know that the monster has heightened hearing, so the best move is to take off our shoes and run as quietly as possible. We can also use sound distractions to throw it off, moving only when it's distracted, not when it's actively chasing us. Now, looking at everything that's happened, it's strange that no disaster response team has arrived yet. That alone is a red flag. And then there's the police, just standing in the dark instead of securing the area. The smarter move would have been to keep heading toward a broadcasting station. That way, even if the police tried to stop us, reporters would have arrived at the scene, making it public knowledge that a monster is on the loose. And with that, we come to the end of this Shake, Rattle, and Roll video, a look at the terrifying monster. I hope you enjoy this video. Let me know in the comments, and if you want more Filipino horror goodness, give this a like and subscribe for more. Hanggang sa susunod nating pagkikita, paalam!